Hello, everyone, and welcome to Angel's View. I'm Angel. Please like and subscribe. Please add a comment after you watch this video. I'd like to hear what you guys have to think about my observations and my viewpoint of Joker Folia Do, or as I will continue throughout the rest of this video to call it Joker 2. All right, so Joker 2 is a sequel to a film from 2019, Joker, with Joaquin Phoenix, directed by Todd Phillips. And they went on to make $1 billion off of a $60 million budget. Tremendous payday for everybody around. It was an R-rated film that made over $1 billion in the comic book um, spectrum. Okay, basically, this is a story based on one of the greatest villains of all time in comic book history, to one of the greatest superheroes of the comic book industry, the Batman. All right, and well, it was supposed to be a one and done film because director Todd Phillips definitely stated this was, not meant to be a franchise, not meant to be anything but a one-time story, an observation, something that allowed him to tell his story. Okay, I'm going to preface this by saying that not a movie critic, just a person that likes to talk about films. Okay, so this is my observation about Joker 2. So I definitely enjoy Joker. It is definitely a film that just turned the genre on its ear. It took the concept of introducing us to an origin story for a supervillain that really has none. Okay, there's always been concepts and ideas to why and where and how the Joker came to be, but Todd Phillips took it a step further, created gave us the character of Arthur Fleck, who sadly was bullied and preyed upon and finally snapped. And, well, the Joker was born. Again, that film resonated with a lot of people. It hit at a time that I guess just understood what was going on, and it is considered a classic. And it took the comic book concept and the genre and just gave us something totally new. Now, with Joker 2, we literally go someplace else. Okay? This film is not about this guy. And before I keep going, this is a spoiler filled review and observation. I'm not going to pull any punches. I mean, there is no reason to pull any punches. This is literally the second weekend that the film is out. I saw it at a fan screening in IMAX last Monday, so it's had an entire whole week of release. And as of today, well, it's not doing well. As a matter of fact, let's just say this film is not about this guy. Sadly enough, the film is about Arthur Fleck. And it brings us back to what happened to him in the first film and just doubles up on it. Arthur Fleck is a loser. He is not viewed as anybody of purpose or substance. He was looking for that attention. He was looking for the fame. I mean, in the first film, when he went on the Tonight Show with the Robert De Niro character, his intention was to kill himself until the Joker took over. So what does this film do? So here we are 2 years apparently after the aftermath of the first film, and it pretty much starts out with Arthur Fleck still in Arkham, being abused and treated a certain way by the guards, and awaiting trial. He is being helped by his lawyer to mount a case that he has a split personality due to his trauma, due to what was done to him as a young man, the sexual abuse, the trauma that his mother, put upon him with all her different suitors and everything like that. Again, at the end of the day, a man who just had nothing. And this character was created, the Joker. This film deconstructs that entire concept. On top of that, the director decided to make this a semi musical. And honestly, folks, it just pulled me out of the film. I was sorely, sorely disappointed. This was not the sequel I was looking for. I don't know if this was a sequel that anybody was looking for. And sadly enough, the current box office as of today is showing us that. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. Again, this is just my feelings about the film. This film was supposed to introduce us to Harley Quinn, who, if you read the comics, you have an understanding of the connection of Mr. J, Joker, and Harley Quinn. Well, Lady Gaga's character, who's supposed to be Harley Quinn, is not. For all intents and purposes, I'm sorry. She's called Lee Quinzel, okay? And she actually takes a much different role in this film than she's been portrayed in other films like The Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey, and even the Harley Quinn cartoon animated show, and in the comics. This Harley is more in control, actually manipulates Arthur Fleck. And throughout the course of the film, you see that. Okay? Was Lady Gaga the best choice for this? Yeah, I honestly, she fulfills the role perfectly. The actors, Joaquin Phoenix, Lady Gaga, they're fantastic. They take the material and they try to do what they can with it. But at the end of the day, the story was just not there. This was not the story or the follow-up that most of us, as comic book fans and people that love the concept of this character, it wasn't there. Again, it was a deconstruction. Arthur Fleck is the main point. Joker is barely in this film. And when he is, it's those great moments, but by the end of the film, he's gone. And once again, spoilers, there will not be a Joker 3. Okay? There will not be a Joker 3. And by the time I'm done, you'll understand why. Sadly enough, again, the musical numbers just pulled me out of the film. It did not progress the film. Okay? And I've seen it twice. Okay? The first time, totally disappointed. I gave an out of the theater reaction to it. I was just like, what the heck did I see? And especially the ending, again, which I will touch upon. And when I went to see it the second time, I sat there with a more critical sense to it, a much more open mind, okay? Well filmed, okay? The acting is very good. But again, the story is lacking because it does not progress anything from the first film. We basically are rehashing a lot of the themes and the concepts from the first film. All you're learning is that Arthur Fleck is still in this mode of, I'm nobody. And did he create the character of the Joker, or is it a split personality? Which is what his lawyer is trying to push, okay? And halfway throughout the film, he gets rid of his lawyer, and he represents himself. There are so many things in this film that you just scratch your head and you go, wait a minute. No regular judge or court would ever allow Arthur Fleck to dress up in clown costume, clown makeup, and represent himself. I don't believe that. Okay, if there's an actual ruling over this, okay, fine. For the sake of the movie, I get it. All right. And the judge kept telling him, "Hey, I'm not going to let you turn this into a circus." Well, guess what? It still does. Okay, because when he is representing himself and he's has people brought up, to the stand to hear them out and everything like that, the Joker character comes out. That's when Joker comes out. Again, this is a film about a fractured man who is subjected to cruelty in while being incarcerated, and then a courtroom drama, okay, with sprinkles of somebody loving him, trying to elevate him, trying to push him to the next level, only to find out that she was just bullshitting him the whole time. She wanted the persona of the Joker. She doesn't care about Arthur Fleck, okay? Lee Quinzel only did what she did to be able to get close to Arthur Fleck, to bring out the Joker and inspire him, to keep pushing him to be this kind of character, or this symbol, okay, which we never get, okay. Don't forget, things happen in the first film that honestly I think a little glossed over. At the end of the first film, it ends with him apparently killing the psychiatrist that was talking to him. So when they talk and reveal about how many people he actually murdered in the film, it doesn't add up. It should be a total of 7 people, but he only talks about 6. So whatever happened to that psychiatrist at the end of the first Joker? Was that another concept that was just in his mind? And it never really happened? Because we know about the 5 people he killed, and the 6th is his mother. But they never talk about the psychiatrist at the end of the first film. It's totally gone. And also the connections to the Waynes. There's no mention of that ever again. There is no connection to the Batverse, okay? Yes, Harvey Dent is the DA that is prosecuting Arthur Fleck. At the end of the day, this film just makes you realize this man was never going to be the clown prince of crime. This was never a man that would ever get to the level to be able to battle a Batman. I'm not talking about any Batman. He couldn't deal with any of the Batmans that we've had in the past. And it's sad because the film had so much potential. The first film just set us up for something that you never thought you'd ever see. It should have never have continued. And again, it comes down to the fact that the film made so much money. The original Joker made over $1 billion. They pushed Warner Brothers, the people behind the production for the first one, wanted to see that kind of money again. The budget went from 60 million to 200 million for this second film. And honestly, you don't see it on the screen. Part of it, we already know, it's because of the director, Joaquin Phoenix, Lady Gaga's, what they got paid. And then the rest of it, I just don't see it. Don't get me wrong. This is visually a striking film. The sequences when they do the musical aspects are great, are cool. They're cool. But it's not for me. It definitely wasn't for me. Totally pulled me out of it. So let's just get to the why this film has just become such a polarizing concept in the comic book community and as far as comic book movies, and as a sequel, the ending. The reason I say there will not be a Joker 3 is because Arthur Fleck is killed and murdered at the end of the film. After he admits to the jury that there is no Joker, that it was just a persona that he used to hide behind, to elevate himself. There is no Joker. Which causes Lee Quinzel to leave him. Basically at the end of the film, and just, you're not Joker. I don't want to be with you. And it's a sad scene. It's sad because it just lets you know there was no purpose for this film. So at the very end, he gets called out that he has a visitor. He goes to one of the main hallways. Another inmate that throughout the entire course of the film, they pepper him in. So you do see this character throughout the film. It is foreshadowing certain things. Just like, and I apologize for not bringing this up, the very beginning of the film, there's an animated sequence that foreshadows what happens. It's actually a pretty good animated sequence, which leads straight into the movie. But it foreshadows what's going to happen. It foreshadows what this story is about. So at the very end, we see Arthur Fleck going to go see his visitor, being stopped by this other inmate who decides to tell him a joke. Decides to tell him a joke about a clown and a psychotic individual that bump into each other in a bar. And basically, the joke ends with him saying, "You get what you deserve." And he shanks him. Spoiler. Shanks him repeatedly. Arthur Fleck bleeds out. Actually flashes back to a musical scene from the past in the film. And then he just lays on the floor and you see the life draining from his eyes. But this is where it just takes a turn like, oh, you got to be kidding me. The other inmate in the background, it gets cloudy, foggy. In the forefront, you see Joaquin Phoenix on the floor, dying, blood pouring out. But the inmate that stabbed him cuts his face in the concept of the grin. You don't see it, but you know that's what he's doing because he's literally gagging on his own blood and he's cackling throughout the whole time. So what they're basically saying is that the concept of Arthur Fleck being a Joker inspired this other inmate to become the new Joker. And the film ends. And that's it. I mean, there's so much I could touch upon with this. The scenes with the prison guards. There's a sequence that is brutal. After Arthur comes back from defending himself in court, he gets badly abused by them. And the next day when he goes back to court is when he makes the decision to say that there is no Joker. Another incredible scene in this film was when he cross-examines the character that was in the first film that observed Joker kill someone, called Gary Puddles. Mr. Puddles, that Arthur Fleck, Joker, makes fun of. He's literally making fun of him. But it's probably one of the most powerful scenes in the film. It is a strong scene. The actor who plays Mr. Puddles just nails it. It brings it home, and it resonates. It brings some feeling into you. So, at the end of the day, what do I say? What do I feel about this? Very disappointed. This is not the sequel that I expected, what I wanted. You're not going to say you're going to have Harley Quinn in it, and it's not Harley Quinn. This Harley Quinn manipulates this Joker. That is not the story that we know of. But you also got to look at it this way. If you're a fan of the comic books, if you're a fan of DC Comics, you understand the concept of Elseworlds. Elseworlds is where they take these characters and they totally reinvent their stories. They put them in different scenarios. They have them do different situations. You'll have a bad guy like Lex Luthor be the Superman. Okay? That's basically what these two films are, I should say. They're an Elseworld story within the DC cinematic universe. Only problem is the first one was a hit. The first one really did it right. The second one just basically is saying to the fans, no, we're not giving you the Joker that you wanted, because this is not about some person rising to, becoming a criminal mastermind that could eventually take on someone as powerful and as justified as the Batman. No, this is a story of a broken man, a very sad man who gave up on his life and used the facade of another character, or the facade to hide behind, to have some strength. And it is sad. Again, I can't call it a superhero film. I can't even, I won't even call it a comic book movie. Superhero film, definitely not, because it's about a villain. But it's a film that is a drama that deals with mental illness and how society treats certain people and what sometimes those people do to get noticed. And how, when those people are in those situations, how other people view them and they want them to become something else. But when you admit to yourself, I was never that person, how quickly those followers disappear from your life. That was Arthur Fleck. And that was the end to Joker 2. Those are my observations. Would I recommend it? Only if you're a diehard fan. You have to be a person that thoroughly enjoys the genre, is willing to sit through a different viewpoint or different aspect of where this character was taken. At the end of the day, this is not our Joker. This is an Elseworlds story. View it as that, and maybe you might enjoy it. Personally, I didn't. Okay? And I've seen it twice. I can't recommend it, is basically what I'm saying. But you make that decision yourself. You may be a person that enjoys musicals. You may be a person that enjoys that concept. I did not. Really took me out of the film. And at the end of the day, this is really becoming just a bad point in comic book history again. The first film, in its opening weekend, made $96 million. Made over $1 billion by the end of its run. Was nominated for several Academy Awards. Joaquin Phoenix walked away with the Best Actor Award for this film. The sequel, its opening weekend, it made less than 40 million, 37 million to my understanding. This is its full second weekend. This weekend it's going up against Terrifier 3. And there is conversations, there is talk that Terrifier 3 will overtake The Joker on its second weekend. A film that opened up at 37 million may possibly drop under double digits for its second weekend. This film is going to bomb tremendously. $200 million budget, $37 million opening for its first weekend. Its ratings and scores on Rotten Tomatoes, both critically and by the audience, is under 40%. Its cinema score is a D+, which is considered just terrible. Yeah, this is just blowing up in everybody's face who was attached to this film. Fingers are being pointed all over the place already. In less than a week, several days after the fan screening, there was already like just conversations. I mean, the fan screenings were enough to get those reactions out there. They did a fan screening before they did a screening for the critics. The fan screening was a Monday night. The critic screening was a Wednesday night. Well, guess what? A lot of critics went to the fan screening and they put out their reviews early. And the reviews are not favorable. In 5 years, will you sit down and look at this again and maybe think about it in a different way? That's a possibility. You may see the genius that Todd Phillips had with this film, that the people that brought this film together had. I don't think so. I mean, Joker and Joker 2 put together, it will be one of those franchises where you're just going to say, damn, that was good. And what the hell happened? Again, this was not the sequel I was looking for. I was hoping for the rise of the clown prince of crime and seeing how he would get to a level that eventually he could challenge someone of the stature of a Batman. That is not what was given to us. On top of the fact that we got musical numbers throughout. Make your own decision. Hopefully, what I had to say may help you think about it. I would never tell someone not to go see something, but I'm not going to recommend this either. Once again, this is Angel's View. Like and subscribe. Leave some comments. Let me know if you enjoyed this conversation, this opinion and observation of this film. And I hope to see you guys again soon.